It was a brutally honest message, and the guys that are fully won't hear it. You know, they'll say coach is tripping. And the guys that maybe do really care will, because they're not going to go back and watch their minutes, because nobody watches their minutes, nobody watches film. So we'll have to show them the film.
2 weeks later.
Word
What?
now?
Right, exactly.
What the fuck? Oh, shit.
Why would he do that right before the playoffs? Why would they do that?
Wow, I'm trying to process that real
That's
quick.
crazy.
You what? Are you kidding me? Another NBA coach has been fired. Now it's Michael Malone's turn to get fired during the middle of the season. Wow. Just wow. This is Sports Guy talking that you guys are watching and listening to. I am Dustin Tran, your host, as I am here today to talk about why Michael Malone is officially fired by the Nuggets, even though the Nuggets are in great position to make the NBA playoffs once again. Nuggets owner Josh Kroenke is pulling the plug on the Michael Malone experiment. Nuggets general manager Calvin Booth was also fired alongside with Michael Malone. Before I say anything else, though, I want to present you guys with the topic question. So, here it is. Will the Nuggets regret firing Michael Malone? Obviously, the answer to this question is yes. How do you fire the winningest coach in franchise history who is on the verge of making another NBA playoff appearance? You look at how Michael Malone has built this Denver Nuggets culture. Look, I'm not going to sit up here and say Michael Malone is on the same level as prime Greg Popovich, but he's certainly a tier below that. And I don't mean that as disrespect to Michael Malone, because Michael Malone is clearly a top 5 head coach in the NBA right now. Every NBA team, with the exception of a few teams, should be in high demand for Michael Malone. The guy has proven himself. He has championship pedigree. He has been able to rebuild the Denver Nuggets into massive contenders. He's proven that he can succeed in multiple situations. The guy is the definition of a great head coach. You look at how the Denver Nuggets have also achieved the most amount of wins in one season under Michael Malone. Just because the Denver Nuggets have had a down year this year, this doesn't mean Michael Malone is a bad head coach. I don't like the timing of this decision at all. You could have waited until after the season to fire Michael Malone. If you wanted to pull off this decision, you fire Michael Malone now. You're not winning a championship at this point. The Denver Nuggets are talking about how, they're hoping that firing a GM and head coach is going to jolt a title run. Are you kidding me? When you do that, you send a message to the locker room that you need to make change in the roster and that the locker room needs to be completely rehalted, which means what? You're not going to be able to contend for a championship this year. When I watch this Denver Nuggets team, I'm thinking to myself, yeah, they're not getting past the first round of the NBA playoffs. And if they do somehow get past the first round of the NBA playoffs, they're not going to get past the second round of the NBA playoffs. The Denver Nuggets are just not good enough as a team to win a championship. You look at how guys like Russell Westbrook have been incredibly inconsistent. Here's the problem for the Denver Nuggets. He's actually one of the best role players on the roster. This Nuggets roster is very top heavy. And who do I blame for that? The general manager. Now, I actually agree with the decision to fire the general manager. I believe Calvin Booth is a major reason why the roster around Nikola Jokic is not very good. I know that Michael Malone and Calvin Booth didn't get along with each other whatsoever, but who can blame Michael Malone for not getting along with Calvin Booth in the front office? Calvin Booth is literally the guy that dismantled the championship team. KCP was let go a year after winning the championship. Bruce Brown was let go by Nuggets management the year they won the championship. Those were two key role players that led to the Nuggets championship run. They gave Michael Porter Jr. a max contract. Here's the problem though. Michael Porter Jr. plays more like a solid role player, but they are paying him like he is a star player. And of course, they have Jamal Murray, and even though he's a great player in the playoffs, Jamal Murray has never made an all-star game in his NBA career. So the Denver Nuggets have surrounded Nikola Jokic with what? Overrated role players? We all know that Nikola Jokic rose to superstardom because of Michael Malone. Who's the coach that gave Nikola Jokic the opportunity to become a superstar? Michael Malone. Who's the one that was able to give Nikola Jokic playing time when it was unpopular to do so? Michael Malone. Michael Malone has a great vision for player development, and he also has great vision as to how to build a championship caliber team around Nikola Jokic. He was good enough for the Nuggets 2 years ago. Why is he not a good enough head coach now? I also want to show you guys this clip of Kendrick Perkins blasting the Denver Nuggets for firing Michael Malone. Even though I believe Kendrick Perkins is a cloud analyst, he does make solid points when talking about Michael Malone. Although a little kid could have told you that information for free. Roll the film.
I'm actually not surprised. Here's why. Okay, we all know from watching the this past season that it was trending towards this direction for us, Michael Malone. He's been lost the ears of this locker room. We have been seeing the frustration in Nikola Jokic. I always say, if you want to see how a team feels about their coach, watch their effort and watch them defensively. How many times has Michael Malone had to call his team out for not competing at a high level on the defensive side of things? And now all of a sudden you're looking at Calvin Booth and him being fired. Well, guess what? You got Nikola Jokic, a generational talent, the most skilled big to ever play the game of basketball, a guy that is knocking at the door of being a top 5 center of all time. Guess what? Over this past week or so, he's had a 60-point triple-double. He's had a 40-point triple-double and a few other triple-doubles that has came in results of L's. So with that being said, you have to every single year, every single minute, find how to put the necessary pieces around your best player.
Yeah, it's shocking. It really is shocking to see a guy like Michael Malone get fired, especially during the timing of the season that they are in right now. How do you fire Michael Malone with basically less than a handful of games left to go in the regular season? Now they hire David Allman. He's going to be the interim head coach for the Denver Nuggets, but it doesn't matter at this point. How could they possibly expect a first-time interim head coach to succeed in the NBA playoffs? So if you're David Allman, you're basically mimicking Michael Malone without actually being Michael Malone. How do the Nuggets expect to win a championship this season by making this change? Now, I know some people are going to say, oh, the Denver Nuggets were going to win a championship anyway with Michael Malone as their head coach. But you know what you did by firing Michael Malone? You sent a message to the locker room that we gave up on the season and that we're putting an interim head coach because we are required to put in an interim head coach. I don't even know how they could properly evaluate the interim head coach in this situation. If he loses in the first round, are you going to say he's a trash head coach now because he lost in the first round? No, you're not going to say that because he didn't have time to implement his own system. He didn't have time to implement his own voice in the locker room. I know that he's been an assistant head coach for many years in the NBA, but it's a whole different role being an assistant head coach in the NBA compared to being the head man in NBA locker rooms. I know Nikola Jokic signed off on the decision to fire Michael Malone, but it's not exactly like Nikola Jokic, at least from the outside, was pushing for Michael Malone to get fired. Now, maybe he was pushing behind the scenes to get his head coach fired, but it just doesn't fit Nikola Jokic's personality whatsoever. Nikola Jokic is not that kind of guy to openly want a head coach to get fired. This is not LeBron James that we were talking about. More than likely, the NBA probably paid Nuggets owner Josh Kroenke some money under the table to get Michael Malone fired, knowing that they have to clear the deck for LeBron James to try to make another NBA Finals appearance. I know that I'm tying in LeBron and the Lakers to this, and I'm getting a little conspiracy theorist, but I believe it has legs to it, because why did multiple teams in the Western Conference that so happen to be threats to the Lakers fire their head coach during the middle of the year? Obviously, the Denver Nuggets are not going to go far in this year's NBA playoffs. They're going to clearly regret firing Michael Malone. There isn't a head coach that is better than Michael Malone on the coaching market right now. The Denver Nuggets were incredibly stupid to fire Michael Malone. It's either that or they were paid under the table. So that is why the Nuggets will end up regretting the decision to fire Michael Malone, as the Nuggets organization is more or less waving the white flag on winning an NBA championship this season. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking. Like the video, please comment down below. If you guys do that, I may shout you guys out in my Instagram story every Monday. That will be for the @DustinAsTran Instagram account. Make sure to follow me on Instagram @DustinAsTran, and that's Sports Guy Talking. Also, go follow me on Twitter @DustinAsTran. Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video, comment down below, check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel, Sports Guy Talking.